the Lord before we begin. Pray to Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Bhattaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Shimati Bhakti Vedanta Samti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasisha Sunyavari Pashtutada Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Here comes Mother Rajkisha. Yeah, so beginning chapter 16. And if you remember, last time we finished off with reading an overview poem of chapter 15. And we mentioned that what we did in the beginning, we would read the Gita Mahatmya of each chapter before we began each chapter. So I managed to find that just before we opened up. So let's read that. So this is from the Gita Mahatmya, speaking about the glories of chapter 16. So let me do some screen sharing. So I can read it, but you can see it there for yourselves and read along. You can see this is the what's known as Prabhupada folio. This is the second aspect of the folio. It's got all additional books, so that's why you see, like, instance here. I'll just show you for those who here. This is all books written by ISKCON devotees here. You see, so many books.
Oh,
There's a lot of reading material there. Songs, prayers, songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gita Vali, etc. You can get lost in here.
yes.
Handbooks, references, all about deity worship is here. Pancharatra Pradeep, like that. Biography of previous acharyas and Prabhupada, like that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many books. Wow.
Yeah, there's so many books. That's the problem with our ISKCON society. There's so many books. Now, having said that, now I've just lost the book which I had up. Okay.
Is this on Desire Tree or Vanipedia?
No, this is called the Prabhupada Folio.
Wow.
And this is not the section with all Prabhupada books. This is the additional books. It's got all the Prabhupada. And that's what devotees have been using this for many, many years. It was the first one to come out about 25, 30 years ago. And it's very good. So now, God, where did I find it? Now I shouldn't have gone off it. Oh, I found it in books by devotees. That's it. I mean, it's in the wrong place actually.
Can you send us a link? Then maybe we can, if there is a link.
Yeah, no, it's not the same. It is not that format. I can send you a link where you can download it.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Yeah. Nice to
Um,
read some of these.
Yes.
yeah, 1 second. Oh, right now.
What were you looking for, Prabhu?
I'm
Books
looking
by
for,
devotees.
yeah, books by devotee. Oh, yeah, here it is.
There,
Right.
there it is. Yeah.
So
Wow.
you got Bhakti Tirtha Swami books. You got books by Shivaram Swami. Um, okay, going down, and then it was here. Gita Mahatmya. That's the thing. It's a bit like a forest. Can you say Gita Mahatmya?
Gita Mahatmya. It'd be on the G, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
Gita,
Gita Mahatmya.
Gita Mahatmya. Yeah, I can
that's
see
the
it.
one.
Padma Puran, Krishna.
Yeah,
Gita Mahatmya.
Yeah.
glories of chapter 16. Here we go. Okay, this is where we was. Okay, all right. The glories of chapter 16 comes Mother Jambavati's house. Hare Krishna. Okay, okay. My excuse me. The glories of chapter 16. Lord Shiva said, my dear Parvati, I will now tell you the glories of the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. One second.
That's where I'm from, Surat.
Yeah. There's a few from Gujarat.
Mhm.
They're the best cooks, we always say. And the glories of the 16th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Do you know the town?
I'm from there.
But here,
Surastra.
Surat.
Yeah, so the old name was Saurashtra, but it's now Surat.
Surat. Okay, there you go. This is where the story is based. It's a true story. Okay. In a Gujarat, there is a town, the name of Saurashtra, Surat. King Kadagabaho had his kingdom there, where he lived just like another Indra, the king of heaven. He kept a very passionate male elephant of the name Arimadana, from whose temples liquid oozed due to his pride. One day, that elephant, in a fit of anger, broke loose from his chains and started to destroy the elephant shed, after which he began running here and there, wildly chasing the citizens. Everyone fled as fast as possible. The elephant keepers immediately reported the news to the king, and when the king heard, he went along with his son to the place where the mad elephant was. King Kadagabahu knew the art of controlling wild elephants. When the king reached the spot where the elephant was running amok, he saw that many persons had been trampled, and others were running here and there to avoid that elephant. Just then, as the king was watching that chaotic scene, he saw one Brahmana peacefully returning from taking his bath in the lake. That Brahmana was silently reciting the first three slokas from the 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which start with the word abhayam, fearlessness. When the people saw that Brahmana walking towards the elephant, they tried to tell him not to go near him. But that Brahmana did not take any notice of them and walked straight up to that mad elephant and started to stroke him. When the elephant saw the Brahmana approaching, he immediately lost all anger and lay down peacefully. After that Brahmana had patted the elephant for a few moments, he went peacefully on his way. When the king and the citizens saw these amazing incidents, they were astonished. The king immediately went and fell at the feet of that Brahmana and inquired from him, "What austerities and worship have you performed to attain such peacefulness and amazing powers?" The Brahmana replied, "Daily I am reciting some slokas from the 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita." Lord Shiva said, "That king requested the Brahmana to come to the palace, where he offered him in charity 100 gold coins and requested that pious Brahmana to instruct him in the chanting of those verses of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. After King Kadabahu had been chanting those verses for some time, he one day, along with his guards, went to the place where that mad elephant was kept and ordered the elephant keepers to release him. At that, the citizens became upset with the king, thinking that the elephant would begin to run amok again. The king went before that mad elephant, which immediately lay down, and he started to stroke him. After that, the king returned to his palace and installed his son on the throne and left for the forest, where he worshipped Lord Krishna by chanting those slokas from the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And very quickly he attained the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Anyone who chants the 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, excuse me, however sinful he is, very quickly attains the same goal as King Kadagabahu, the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Okay, nice, sir. So a bit of inspiration for reading the 16th chapter. If you happen to have any elephants in your town, you know what to do. Okay. All right, so let's share with you now the Bhagavad Gita, that 16th chapter. Here you go. Oh yeah, we're not doing, yeah, just like that. Okay, it looks okay. It's not too, you can see it's not blurred or anything. It's okay. You can see it. Okay, everyone. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
16th chapter. Yeah, I remember when I first read Bhagavad Gita, it had quite an effect on me. This 16th chapter. I was impressed with all the Bhagavad Gita. It was quite striking when I first read it. But when I read this 16th chapter, it kind of woke me up a bit. Because, well, in the first instance, I didn't realize there was such a thing as divine qualities. Such, I never really contemplated the difference between demonic qualities and divine qualities. And when I was reading this, I could very see when I was picturing my associates and my friends, etc. I could see some some divine, but not many, but mostly demonic qualities. And also I could see it in myself as well. So I remember first reading the 16th chapter, you know, I became inspired with the inspiration to become free of demonic qualities. I think for the first time in my life, I decided to try and improve myself rather than continue to degrade myself. This was chapter 16, you know. So let's read it. As usual, if you can chant the Sanskrit, this is quite a lengthy purport. These first three verses. Most of the chapter is dedicated to the demonic qualities. Just these first three verses speak about the divine qualities. So let's think how we can do it. Perhaps we can stop. We can someone could chant the three verses and chant the read the Sanskrit, and then perhaps we can stop each quality and see if there's any comments or questions. Okay. So any volunteers? Welcome to
I
run.
can read.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
can read the verses, but the purport is far too long, so we'll have to sort of split
Yeah,
it.
that's what I said. So you can read and then we can stop and discuss and move on and someone else can read like that. We can share it out.
Mhm.
Okay, chapter 16, the divine and demonic natures. Sri Bhagavana Uvacha Abhayam Sattvam Samshuddhir Gnana Yoga Vyavasthiti Damnam Damascha Yagnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodhas Tyaga Shantir Apaishunam Daya Bhuteshwa Loluptvam Mardavam Hira Chapalam Tej Kshama Dhruti Shaucham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata.
Very nice chanting. Bhagavad Kishore. Did you learn this chapter? Have you learned these verses?
Uh, I don't know by heart. I read it now and then, but I
Oh,
can't recite them by heart.
oh, it sounds very familiar. I mean, I learned these verses, but then I forgot these verses. So I'm just revisiting them again. They're really wonderful. Okay, continue. You can read the translation.
Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquillity, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness,
Covetedness. Yeah.
covetedness,
I think that means greed. Yeah.
gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature.
Okay, you just read the first paragraph.
Okay. Purport. In the beginning of the 15th chapter, banyan tree of this material world was explained. the extra roots coming out of it were compared to the activities of the living entities, some auspiciousness, some inauspicious. In the 9th chapter, also, the devas or the godly and the asuras, the ungodly or demons, were explained. Now, according to Vedic rites, activities in the mode of goodness are considered auspicious for progress on the path of liberation, and such activities are known as Daivi Prakriti, transcendental by nature. Those who are situated in the transcendental nature make progress on the path of liberation. For those who are acting in the modes of passion and ignorance, on the other hand, there is no possibility of liberation. Either they will have to remain in the material world as human being, or they will descend among the species of animals or even lower life forms. In this 16th chapter, the Lord explains both the transcendental nature and its attendant qualities and the demonic nature and its qualities. He also explains the advantages and disadvantages of these qualities.
Okay, thank you. So this is an introduction. Just yeah, I was just thinking actually that one of the reasons that we archaeological studies, although there are great cities in the Vedic times, but generally people live very simple lives, and the whole atmosphere was of sattva. So the main purpose and goal which everyone wanted to achieve would be some form of liberation or freedom from the kleshas of lust, anger, greed, etc. That's what generally every pious person would actually dedicate their life to. So that's why they would engage in religious practice and give in charity in order to develop their inner world. But here in today's modern world, that no one's paying attention to that. So it's completely in the mode of passion. So therefore, you got all these large, intense, passionate, um, passionate cities. We've got all this Ugra Karma, the so-called inner industrial revolution. You know, it's all the product of the mode of passion. But in the past, persons were advanced in this way. They were advancing qualities. So, any comments or questions on that? Yes. So sometimes we're impressed, or we may be impressed by the material advancement of a society, but actually, you want to look at the character of those in that society. Then you can be impressed.
Mm.
And that's the real, we can really be impressed that these. So that is what's is it Aryan culture, where the spiritual life was prominent, rather than how big the buildings are, you know.
Mm.
Oh, it's such an advanced place. Like I was recently in America again and was in New York for a few days, and it's absolutely those who've been there, it's like,
Urban jungle.
yeah, it's like an urban jungle. It's exactly like, and the massive, massive buildings and infrastructure, the tunnels and the bridges, and it makes London look like a little village, you know. But are they really advanced? Is that really advancement? No, not according to what we're going to hear in Bhagavad Gita. A lot of those are people there. I mean, not all, but many of them will be, you could, of the demonic qualities. Anyway, let's read on. Any questions or comments about that? Just
Well, I
looking.
was thinking, even
Yeah.
here in the villages, people are lot more friendly, more compassionate, and
Yeah.
people in the city aren't. It's just that bigger the city, the less the people mm, are interested
Yeah,
in each other.
you're right.
Mm.
But you're fine. We used to have an interesting experience that when we would do Sankirtan in central London, it was so difficult
Mm.
stop people. They're so passionate. But then we would go out to then we would go on traveling Sankirtan and go to these smaller towns. And it's so much easier to stop people because they're in a different mode. But what we realized as well, that those same persons who live in these little villages or these small towns, when they come to London, they get influenced by the mode of passion and they never stop. It's the same people. But when they come to when they come into central London, it's so passionate that they get pushed along with the mode of passion, you know. So, but when they're in their own place, in their own little village or town, then yeah, you're right, Maharaj Kishore. There can be a different quality of people. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Let's someone else like to read the next paragraph?
Shall I read?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
The word abhijatasya, in reference to one born of transcendental qualities or godly tendencies, is very significant. To beget a child in a godly atmosphere is known in the Vedic scriptures as Garbhadana Samskara. If the parents want a child in the godly qualities, they should follow the 10 principles recommended for the social life of the human being. In Bhagavad Gita, we have studied also before that sex life of begetting a good child is Krishna himself. Sex life is not condemned, provided the process is used in Krishna consciousness. Those who are in Krishna consciousness at least should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so they may become Krishna consciousness after birth. That should be the advantage of children born of a father and mother absorbed in Krishna consciousness.
Okay.
This, shall I
Right.
read?
Yeah, just a little, unless anyone has any comments or questions on this. Garbhadan Samskara, or Prabhupada mentions the 10 purificatory rites. Where did he mention that? Yeah. Transcendental godly content is very significant. To beget a child in godly atmosphere is known in the Vedic scriptures Garbhadan Samskara. Yeah, they
Only people in Krishna consciousness would understand that, though, wouldn't they? I mean, normal people,
for sure.
just
Yeah.
have children, not realizing it. They just have children for their own selves, like, I
Yeah,
want
they
a
don't
child.
realize it's actually sacred what they're doing, and it's supposed to be have some sense of
Yeah.
religiosity about it because to invite a godly soul into their
Mm,
family.
mm,
I
mm,
remember a few years ago, there was one couple, and they wanted to speak to the head pujari, and I was quite insistent, and I was quite busy, and somehow or another I couldn't get to them so quick. But eventually, they didn't give up. They really wanted to speak with me, and I went into temple room, and it was a young couple, and they prayed obeisances, and they gave me a gift. Then they asked for blessings. It's a normal thing. So, what do you want blessings for? Said, oh, we're going to do Garbhadan.
ah,
So they were seeking blessings from a Brahmana or blessings from the temple or the sadhus before they would
mm.
engage to produce a child.
Wow.
I thought that was, thought,
So nice.
that's like really, so you can imagine that what type of child they're going to bring into their family with that type of mentality.
Yeah. Wow.
And then
That's
I guess the other side of it, I mean, I don't know if I should say it, but I've started now. Well, I guess I should finish it. Then a few weeks later, um, another devotee, he said, can I get your blessings? So I said, oh, what do you want blessings for? Oh, because my wife is pregnant. I said, you're supposed to ask blessings before. You're supposed to ask blessings before, not after.
Special ceremony we have to perform before having a child.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah, and I've happened to be in my sloka book. Because one time I was studying these different samskaras when I was, learning about yagna and things like that. And there's one devotee who's very knowledgeable about these things. He's Sri Radharaman. You might know him. He's based out of the manor.
Mhm.
And he's writing a book. He's been writing it for a good few years, but he's writing a book on this subject. But he mentions that by doing the samskaras, like the prenatal samskaras, before the child is born, then it's an opportunity for the parents to not in, kind of to create a natural attraction within the child to religious or godly life through some skadas, because they cannot teach the child because the child's within the womb. Out when the child is born, then they can teach the child by example a religious and godly life. But when the child's in the womb, that opportunity is not there. But then to imbibe godly qualities within the child, then that's why the different some skaras are there. Um, and the 10 are, I won't describe them but I just name them. Some of you might know of them. The first one obviously is Vivaha, that's marriage. Then Garbhadana, that's what Prabhupada's speaking about here. And Shimantanayanam, that's where for the rights or for the protection of the mother and the child. Then there's the actual birth of the child. There's a ceremony that's done at the time. That's called Jata Karma. And then there's Niskarmana. This is not a main, it's not one of the main 10, but it's there as well. That's where the child goes out of the maternity home for the first time. Normally, in villages, there'd be a place where the birth would take place and the wife would stay there. And then when the child first comes out and sees the sun, sees the moon, that's called Nishkarmana. Then we have Nam Karana, name giving, Paushtikama, that's for the health, ongoing health of the child. Then Anaprashan, you know what that one is, grains, that may be accompanied by Kana Veda, piercing the ears, which represents hearing of the Veda. Then Chudakarana, the first haircut. Now, I've been there, done that a couple of times. It's quite fun, cutting the child's hair off. Then Vidyaramba, that's when the schooling starts, when they learn to write the letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. And then Upanayana, you know what that one is? Then that is initiation. And anyone can see what the last one is?
The
The
death
last one?
right.
Yeah, everyone has to do that one. That's called Ant Antyeshtriya. That's the last rites, the funeral. Right, so that's done also done. So when a child comes into this world, there's it's a religious thing. Then when the soul leaves as well, it's all done in reference to Veda, all done in reference to the Supreme Lord. You know? Not as Prabhupada says here, like cats and dogs. Those who are in Krishna consciousness at least should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so they may become Krishna conscious after birth. That should be the advantage of children born of a father and mother absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Right, it could be a whole discussion, but any questions or comments? If not, we can read on. Anyone else would like to read the next two paragraphs and then just look in here where we begin each. Okay. Any readers out there?
Yeah, I can carry on if nobody wants to.
Okay, go ahead.
The social institution known as Varnas Dharma, the institution dividing society into 4 divisions of social life and 4 occupational divisions or castes, is not meant to divide human society according to birth. Such divisions are in terms of educational qualifications. They are to keep the society in a state of peace and prosperity. The qualities mentioned herein are explained as transcendental qualities meant for making a person progress in spiritual understanding so that he can get liberated from the material world. In the Varnashram institution, the sannyasi, or the person in the renounced order of life, is considered to be the head of the spiritual master of all the social status and orders. A brahmana is considered to be the spiritual master of the 3 other sections of society, namely the Kshatriya, the Vaishyas, and the Sudras. But a sannyas, who is on the top of the institution, is considered to be the spiritual master of the brahmanas also. For a sannyas, the first qualification should be fearlessness, because a sannyasi has to be alone without any support or guarantee of support. He has simply to depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one thinks, after I leave my connections, who will protect me? He should not accept the renounced order of life. One must be fully convinced that Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his localized aspect as Paramatma, is always within, that he is seeing everything and he also always knows what one intends to do. One must thus have firm conviction that Krishna, as Paramatma, will take care of a soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone, one should think. Even if I live in the darkest regions of a forest, I shall be occupied by Krishna, and he will give me all protection. That conviction is called abhayam, fearlessness. This state of mind is necessary for a person in the renounced order of life.
Okay.
Then, yeah.
Just pause there, just because these first 3 qualities, abhayam, sattva, samsuddhya, this is specifically in reference to a sannyasi.
Mm.
And giving in charity, etc., will be for those who are in the family life. Yep. So this is creating a picture of a classic sannyasi.
Is that why he takes that danda? Is that representing that he renounced? Some of the sannyasis have the.
Yeah, well, yeah, all sannyasis will be given the danda when they take sannyas.
Mm,
They generally will carry it at least for the first few years,
mhm,
perhaps up to 10 years. I've heard they should carry it. But you see, most of our senior sannyasis, then they will not always carry it.
mm,
Because it's considered, even if a sannyasi shouldn't become attached to his danda, then that's not good. It's attachment. So
mm,
it's there to like in all different statuses of life, there's different signs where one can be known or what status of life they are in, you know. Like they
mm,
have a bindi, then the idea as far as I know that they're married. Yeah. So sannyasis, they will different, the Mayavad sannyasis, they will carry ek danda. Then the
mm,
Vaishnav sannyasis will carry the tree danda, with one in the middle that represents the soul, the control of mind, body, and words. And the idea, like here, Prabhupada is creating for us the classical, traditional sannyasi who might be alone in the jungles and wandering alone in the forests.
mm.
Generally, sannyasis today are generally wandering from airport to airport, from temple to temple. But still, the idea is that they shouldn't be dependent upon, and they're completely dependent upon the protection of Krishna. Like, for instance, like a sannyasi in the jungle, generally, especially in India, there's wild animals in the jungle. There's lions, there's poison, there's snakes, there's etc. etc. But the idea is that the Lord is situated within everyone's heart. He's situated in the heart of the lion. He's situated in the heart of the poisonous snake. So therefore, so they go and put themselves in that situation, depending completely upon the mercy of Krishna. Yeah. completely upon the mercy of Krishna. Whether this snake will bite me or not, it's all up to Krishna. Of course, that wouldn't mean they would deliberately walk into a pack of lions. But generally, we should always act for self-preservation. But generally, that would be their move, completely dependent upon Krishna. And so they put themselves out on a limb so they can feel the universal protection, or they can feel Krishna's direct protection. So they put themselves, so they're not dependent on anything, family, country, society. They're completely dependent upon Krishna. Yeah, that's the idea. So, but in one sense, we should all, no matter where we are situated, it's good to try and develop this level of dependence upon Krishna as a devotee. Even if we got, a husband and 3 children and 17 grandchildren, then we want to still life brings with it its challenges and difficulties. So we still want to develop this because it's one of the aspects of surrender, is to be completely dependent upon Krishna. So we should want to take sannyas within, to be completely fearless, completely dependent upon Krishna. We may not all, especially ladies, may not accept it externally, but internally we want to develop through Krishna consciousness, abhayam, fearlessness, to move in this world with complete conviction that Krishna is my only protector. But with sannyasis, they will show that. They will remind others to be completely dependent upon Krishna. I mean, that's the idea of sannyas. They have done that. And so everyone else should know that at the end of the day, I'm going to have nothing, just like the sannyasi has nothing. This sannyasi is completely dependent upon Krishna. So I should also want to be dependent upon Krishna. Of course, if one is married and grihastha, then you have to make provisions for one's family. Yeah. So abhayam sattva samsuddhya, fearlessness. Prabhupada was called Abhay Charana Ravinda, wasn't it? Abhaya, completely fearful, completely
Fearless.
free of all fear. And that was Prabhupada in his preaching. Completely bold, free of all fear, completely dependent upon Krishna. Yeah. Any other questions about this? Then the next paragraph's about sannyas as well. Abhayam sattva samsuddhya. Yeah. I shall never be alone. Yeah. We are never alone. Krishna is always there. Yeah. Right. So this is necessary for a person in the renounced order of life. Yeah. But also it's necessary for everyone who's practicing Krishna consciousness. Welcome. I think I saw Mother Chandravali come in. Welcome. And also welcome to others. Ramai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kumari Priya. Welcome everyone for joining us. All right, let's continue reading about fearlessness and abhayam sattva samsuddhya, purification of one's existence. Okay, someone like to read the next paragraph? Okay, I'm going to jump in.
Hare Krishna, I can read Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead, Mother
If you
Kumari.
just tell me where it starts.
We're reading from here.
Okay, thank you.
Abhayam sattva samsuddhya. This is sattva samsuddhya, purifying our existence.
When he has to purify his existence, there are so many rules and regulations to be followed in the renounced order of life. Most important of all, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with women. He is even forbidden to talk with a woman. Lord Chaitanya was ideal sannyasi.
In secluded place, yeah?
Secluded place. Lord Chaitanya was ideal sannyasi, and when he was in Puri, his feminine devotees could not even come near to offer their respects. They were advised to bow down from a distant place. This is not a sign of hatred for women as a class, but a stricture imposed on a sannyasi not to have close connections with a woman. One has to follow the rules and regulations of a particular status of life in order to purify his existence. For a sannyasi, intimate relations with women and possession of wealth for sense gratification are strictly forbidden. Ideal sannyasi was Lord Chaitanya himself, and we can learn from his life what he was very strict in regards of woman, or how he is considered to be most liberal incarnation of Godhead, accepting the most fallen conditioned souls. He strictly followed the rules and regulations of a sannyasa order of life in connection with association with a woman. One of his personal associates, namely Chota Haridas, was associated with Lord Chaitanya along with other confidential personal associates. But somehow or other, this Chota Haridas looked lastly on a young woman. And Lord Chaitanya was so strict that he at once rejected him from society of his personal associates. Lord Chaitanya said, for a sannyasi or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate himself to the spiritual nature to go back home, back to Godhead, for him looking toward material possessions and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking toward them with such propensity is so condemned what he had better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desires. So those are the processes for purification.
Okay,
Then,
let's just pause there, yeah? So how does the sannyasi purify himself? There you go. Prabhupada explains it. Yeah. And I don't know if you've read, I'm sure you, most of us, we've heard this story in Chaitanya Charitamrita of Chota Haridas. It's quite a, we have two Haridases. We have Haridas Thakur, then we have Chota Haridas, young Haridas and senior Haridas. This is a junior Haridas, Chota Haridas. It's quite a heart-rendering, heartbreaking story. Yeah. Even Lord Chaitanya's associates, they try to speak to Lord Chaitanya to perhaps not be so heavy with Chota Haridas. Yeah, he banished him away from like his association. And Chota Haridas was devastated, you know. He was devastated to the point where he actually committed suicide, isn't it? Yeah, he committed suicide. And Lord Chaitanya associates tried to intervene on his behalf. In one sense, it was a slight misdemeanor. He went to beg rice, isn't it? And then there's different descriptions of exactly what happened, but he went to beg rice. But it says here, Prabhupada's quite clear that he looked lustfully on a young woman. What was the name of the person he went to beg rice from? Madhvi, was it Madhavi?
Madhavi, and she was a
Yeah.
middle-aged lady.
Yeah, she was an aged lady. So it's interesting in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it doesn't really map out the fine details because some say she was an old lady. But here, Prabhupada is telling us perhaps so in that household there was a young woman. So it might have been that the young woman, that he might have asked the old lady, then I'm just speculating here, then the young woman gets the rice and brings it to him, the young servant girl, or whoever it may be, or daughter. And he looked lustfully. But he was very repentant. He was hoping Lord Chaitanya would reinstate him, but he didn't. And as you know, he committed suicide. But then, as we know also that he obtained a body of a Gandharva and was singing beautiful bhajans and songs for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his ethereal body. But Bhaktisiddhanta gives quite a purport to this as well, which Prabhupada quotes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he's setting the example. Lord Chaitanya is setting an example because there's a lot of people who cheat in the name of sannyas. So he was very strict. So therefore, actually, and all that you read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became scared even to think of a woman, especially the renunciates. They became very very strict in their practices after Lord Chaitanya rejected Chota Haridas. So that should be the same lesson, you know. Yeah, and in ISKCON history as well, we have one sannyasi who was a well-known sannyasi. What was his name? Well-known Kirtaniya, very influential friend of Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Anyone, you get 10 points if you name that sannyasi. Vishnu Jan.
Oh, yes.
Vishnu Jan. Yeah, so he was on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada, and he came to the front where Prabhupada was, and he asked him this question about what should a sannyasi do if they fall down with a woman. And Prabhupada said he commits suicide. And then the story, as I heard, then Vishnu Jan then went to the back where he came from. But Prabhupada continued speaking about it. Yes, that's Lord Chaitanya, because he had examples of sannyasis falling down, and he would tell them, just okay, so take up Krishna consciousness from a strong standpoint. Okay, so now become a householder and continue. So Prabhupada continued explaining that after but Vishnu Jan didn't hear that, how I'm told. So he committed suicide. He went to the bank of he went to we went to that place where the Ganges and Yamuna meet, you know, because he went missing for some time. No one knew where he was. So
Prayag.
Prayag, yeah. So they heard he got a ticket to Prayag. So some devotees went to Prayag and they asking everyone, have you seen this tall, effulgent, he was tall, he was effulgent, sannyasi, and some brahmanas said, yes, he came. And we did last rites because he wanted to commit suicide. So we tied chains on him, took him into the middle of the river and threw him in. Because he paid them to do that. Of course, he would have got liberation of some type. Anyway, it's a bit of ISKCON history if you don't know it. Mohini Gopika looked shocked.
Isn't that, committing suicide, isn't that a sin?
It is by this specific circumstances, in one sense, as a sannyasi, he's doing what's there in Sastra, and he committed suicide in the confluence of Prayag, in Prayag. So it's not, so he would have got some type of liberation from that.
Mm, mm.
It was according to Sastra. Otherwise, if you commit suicide, then you get the sin of murder. Because you
Wow.
yourself. So you have to get the karma of murdering someone, specifically yourself, but not in that situation,
Yeah.
circumstance.
Because he asked Prabhupada that if
That was sense more.
also he asked Prabhupada if a sannyasi falls down, what should one do? And Prabhupada said, commit suicide. So
Yeah, so that,
Prabhupada said that. So he followed Prabhupada and Sastra.
but it's a shame he didn't kind of
But he didn't hear the last bit, yes.
the last part. And our Vishnu Jam was such a wonderful devotee, such an influential devotee. He would have had probably, if he was still with us, he would have had hundreds of thousands of disciples. He was such a charismatic person.
Wow.
Krishna had plans for him, and there's a bit so you can learn quite a bit from ISKCON's history. That's one historical instant, to learn from. Yeah, because there was other sannyasis who fell down.
Yeah.
Prabhupada was very compassionate and merciful to them and didn't tell them to commit suicide. Actually, one sannyasi offered to commit suicide. Prabhupada said, Lord Chaitanya is Lord Chaitanya. I am not Lord Chaitanya. I need all the help I can get. So you don't commit suicide. You just move to an ashram where you can be more stronger and continue your Krishna consciousness. But still, it's a whole subject. Still today, it's kind of frowned upon, of course, in our ISKCON society if a sannyasi succumbs, you know. and falls down. It's not. It's it's not. Oh yeah, that it's not like yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Just get married. No, there's to be some censure. There'll be some public censure for it. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments on this?
Sensitive subject.
Yes. All right, let's. You like to continue reading Kamadi Pri? You can read the next paragraph. You still there?
Yes, I can read.
Yeah.
The next item is Jnana Yoga Yavastiti.
Yeah.
Being engaged in the cultivation of knowledge, sannyasi life is meant for distribution knowledge to the householders and others who have forgotten their real life of spiritual advancement. A sannyasi is supposed to beg from door to door for his livelihood, but this doesn't mean that he is a beggar. Humility is also one of the qualifications of a transcendentally situated person, and out of sheer humility, the sannyasi goes from door to door, not exactly for a purpose of begging, but to see the householders and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. This is a duty of sannyasi. If he is actually advanced and so ordered by his spiritual master, he should preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. And if one is not so advanced, he should not accept the renounced order of life. But even if one has accepted the renounced order of life without sufficient knowledge, he should engage himself fully in hearing from a bona fide spiritual master to cultivate knowledge. A sannyasi or one in a renounced order of life must be situated in fearlessness, sattva shuddhi, purity, and jnana yoga, knowledge.
Okay. Thank you. So there's the quality specifically for a sannyasi. Any questions here? Yeah, anyone just tried begging? It's quite humbling. I spent a few years on book distribution, begging people to stop, begging for donations, and people sometimes like saying no. It's quite good. When you're doing house to house as well, it's quite purifying. You get some people will be very friendly and some people will be very angry at the fact that you even knocked on their door, So this you see monks will do this, even Buddhist monks, isn't it? It's a general practice, begging on behalf of the spiritual master. Yeah, because begging isn't it? Begging is the lowest thing, generally, isn't it? Let's just see, if the lowest place you can go in society is to be a beggar, isn't it? Sitting on the street. There's quite a few of them here in London. Of course, they're not sadhus. They're not doing it. They're not doing it to develop detachment and humility. But in the Indian hierarchy of in their social hierarchy, to have assets and to give it all away and to become a beggar, that's really a powerful statement. You become a beggar now. And there's stories of Prabhupada speaks of Lal Bahu, or I might have got his name wrong. He was a rich. This is in contemporary times. A very rich landholder in Kolkata, very rich and influential and active on the political field as well. Very affluent, and he became greatly inspired about Krishna at some point in his life, not before old age, and he gave up everything and became a beggar in Vrindavan. Became a bhakta, chanting Krishna's holy name and begging. And even he wouldn't beg at the houses of his political enemies. So it's a famous case, Lal Babu, I think his name. It's in Vrindavan, begging for Krishna. Of course, some of you have just come back from Vrindavan, and you probably see a good few people there begging. Anyway, okay. So we've got 3 minutes
Can
left.
I can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Actually, yeah, I came from Vrindavan as well, and when we was reading this, just something came into my mind, because there was a lot of sadhus, and obviously it's good to give to charity.
Yeah.
But obviously there is so many, it's hard sometimes to, like
Yeah.
make the decision who to give and who not to, because once you start to give to one, sometimes there is so many comes and you feel very bad because you can't do to all. So what mood should we cultivate, and how we make the right decision in which situation we should give and which situation we should just leave it like it is?
Yeah, this sounds very familiar. I think you've asked this question before, and I think I remember vaguely. In the Chandravali, uh, how, for example, what she does.
Mm. I do in Vrindavan.
Yeah,
The
then you give
sadhus
money.
and everybody gets so much prasad,
Yeah,
so much
especially
prasad everywhere, free.
during
So
winter.
you don't really need to give to anybody. Well, my mood is I just walk away, because I walk away. You don't know where they're going to spend your Lakshmi or whatever. You're going to get the reaction. Because if you see Kumari Priya, everywhere the sadhus get so much prasad, so much gifts, so many things they get.
So
So you just have to.
charity in Vrindavan, you kind of sponsor feeding programs. You give money
I,
to.
I do, but I do it at the school,
Oh,
Sandipani Mini School, for the girls. I sponsor Golden Feast there, and then we feed all the girls and all the village people who come later on.
so that's it. But I would say also, which I was going to say, but interesting you brought this aspect out, that if you do want to, if you are charity, give it in Vrindavan. If you're going to do it, if you're going to give, you want to give to beggars, you can do it in Vrindavan, even if they've got 100 samosas on their plate. They're in Vrindavan, and it's Vrindavan, and so it's good to give charity. But again, you get swamped. But don't get it to the point where you're so concerned about giving charity and others asking and harassing you, that you don't give anything to anyone. Give something to someone. Give something to someone. Somewhere. Somebody does this, she does it the other way. She sponsors.
I do. Yeah, I sponsor. Yeah.
I know I've seen
And
sannyasis do that. I know my Guru Maharaj does that after he's been to Vraj, when he's been in Vraj for sometimes. Any money he's got left, he just gives it out along the road to anyone who's there. Any rupees, he just gives it. So, yeah,
yeah.
but so that you can do in Vraj, but you can't do it in London.
Also, I gave 3,000 rupees like books. So little books. Anybody comes, they just distribute them. Like that kind of donations I do.
Yeah. So I don't know if that helped Mother Kumari Priya. You can, yeah, if you got some change in your bag, just give and quickly walk on. Give to the first ones that are there, and just move on. But it's good to give because, to be in the habit of giving charity. And did that make sense? Did that help?
Yeah, it does help. I just when I was, because sometimes like you go to the small temples and you get a little bit distracted. You come there to pray or to pay
So that's
obeisances,
another
but
temples.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is different. But that's why, like, it's nice to just nice to have that mood.
Yeah. I mean, I
Thank you
don't.
for sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like in temples, I think a lot of Westerners they don't like it, and they're sure when you get harassed to make donations, then I don't give.
And I also think that they harass Westerners more
Yeah.
than they do to Indians, because they
Oh,
know the Indians are not. I just walk away. I just walk away from everybody. I just chant and walk away. I don't answer or anything, because it's so difficult when you go to these places and you want to like take darshan and pray, and you ended up having all these people. Oh, I'm a
Can you imagine
all sorts of
that
things.
in the temple here, in our temple? everyone who came in the door, you shake them up for donation, and Anyway, okay, so very good. So,
Just to
how
be,
should be
I
charitable?
feel just to be peaceful for yourself, it's good to do charity. Like even if you give donation for prasad somewhere, so on your behalf they distribute prasad,
Yeah.
so at least you feel peaceful that you're doing something. I went to one sangha, and there one place, and they were just feeding so many sadhus and matajis and that. I just gave donation there.
Yeah.
So then
Probably,
I've done it. I've done it. I feel peaceful. I don't have to go around giving 10 rupees, 20 rupees to this one, that one, that one.
yeah, apparently Kartik attracts a load of sadhus from all over India because that's the time
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
donations. But generally, let's take it. I mean, the main point here is that householders should be charitable, feeding Vaishnavas because it's their charity that maintains all the other ashrams, the sannyasis, the brahmacharis, and the vanaprasthas. They're all maintained by the charity of the householders. So it should be quite a strong principle that one has if one is a householder to be charitable. You know. Okay, let's pause here, yeah, and we'll continue next Monday. We should be right. I'm away at the weekend, but I'll be back in time for this evening session. Oh, today's Monday? Yeah, today's Monday. And on Wednesday, we can just finishing up Bhagavatam Rita reading. We're just doing a synopsis of the chapters that we've covered, having a bit of a reminder. So we'll be doing that on Wednesday. So please join us if you can. Okay. So thank you everyone for your kind attention. And good, quite a few devotees here for the restarting of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Nitya Gaura Premanandi Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Haribo.